published a book a year ago about 9/11 called The Trigger. It's quite a considerable book. And the whole official story of 9/11 is it's laughable in terms of it doesn't even begin to make sense, because it's a pack of lies. But you talk about Black Lives Matter there, which is a wonderful example of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, of course, Black Lives Matter if you have a lowercase b and a lowercase l and a lowercase m. But that's not what Black Lives Matter, the organization, is. It was created and is funded to a phenomenal extent by the 1%. 1% billionaires, 1% corporations, 1% foundations, not least people like George Soros. George Soros, who says that he's not there to look at the social consequences of what he does. He's just there to make money. And suddenly we're supposed to believe that he has this bleeding heart in relation to black people. And so what Black Lives Matter is there for, the organization, is to divide and rule people on race, because they want separation. The more they can separate us and set us at war with each other through these fault lines of labels, the further they are keeping us from realizing the true nature of self, which is we're all unique points of attention within the same flow of infinite awareness. And the giveaway, you've mentioned the giveaway that Black Lives Matter, the organization, is a scam, is that all lives matter is now considered a racist statement. Now, what does all lives matter mean? It's the ultimate inclusivity. It is saying everyone is equally important, equally valid, and deserving of equal justice, equal fairness, and equal equality of opportunity. So all lives matter is inclusive. It says all lives matter. In effect, we are one. But they don't want that. So they fund the Black Lives Matter organization, the 1%. This cult, in other words, they fund Antifa, and it does make me shake my head when I see white woke people, screaming at black police officers at how they're traitors to their race because they've chosen to be a police officer. And it's like, but you're white. I thought you were against racism. It's just ridiculous.
It is.
And it's all about divide and rule, divide and rule, divide and rule. So you bring in the whole transgender thing that's happened and come out of nowhere and is suddenly everywhere. Those organizations are funded by the same source, ultimately. Mm-hmm. And so what you then have, because if people want to see themselves in any way they like, they have absolute right to do it.
Right.
But this is what tends to happen with labels, especially the extreme end of labels. People are not just happy. I'm not talking about most people. I'm talking about the extreme activists that dominate the microphones and social media. They're not just happy with being their unique self and living their life in their way.
Right.
They want somehow dominance over other ways of living your life. So what we've now got is another divide, another fault line of divide and rule that's emerged between feminists and transgender activists. It's another fault line's opened up. And that, if only people would just stop from all these different label groups and identity groups, label identity groups, and just look up symbolically, they'd see the same hands holding the strings that attach to all of them.
Yes.
They're just playing off against each other.
Yes.
What happened with Trump is they brought him to power because they wanted him to be a figurehead to divide and rule America. Mm-hmm. Not him to divide and rule it, the people that control him to divide and rule. Because the same force that brought Trump to power is the same force that actually funds these woke organizations. that have taken over the Democratic Party. So you've got these two groups, and you play them off against each other. And if you read the writings of people like Saul Alinsky, who was a Marxist who was followed by Obama and Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi. Mm-hmm. He describes how you divide a society. Mm-hmm. And what he says in a book called Rules for Radicals is, don't target faceless bureaucrats, faceless corporations. Pick one person and blame them for everything, and project all your hatred on one person. It's like the Nazis said, keep your propaganda simple. And so they divided America now. We have this political debate in America, which is, do you love Trump or hate Trump? And it's got to that ridiculous level. And while these two fighting each other, they're both expressions of the same consciousness. It's quite tragic to watch it, really. And like you're saying, when the penny drops, I mean really drops, that actually we're all each other, having different experiences on the level of consciousness, yes. then this stuff just collapses. All this divide and rule, all this conflict, all this battling people to get to the top of the greasy pole, it all, and we can have a world that literally dreams another dream.
Yes.
And because that's what you're right when you said earlier, this is just a dream. Human society is simply a projection of the collective state of human perception.
Exactly.
And if we change our perception, the projection changes.
Exactly.
And we dream another dream.
We can change the film in the projector. We can change
this is also what
collectively, yes.
This is also why they want to keep us in the perception that everything's solid and everything's apart from everything else, because if we buy that, then change just takes on this, oh, how do you change this? You know, how do you change this? It's going to take so long, you know, because it's you know, it's a solid world and everything's apart from everything else, and you've got to get someone to take minutes, and then we've got to start this organization, and we'll have this protest. No. Perception individually creates your life.
Exactly.
Because your life is a projection of your perception. Collectively, the world is a projection of our collective perception. And we can change that whenever we choose.
Exactly.
And this is what they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know how fast we can transform this world by transforming our perceptions that are creating this world.
Right. They don't want us to wake up to who we truly are. And when you know who you truly are individually, because we are connected collectively, so each one of us waking up individually is affecting the entire universe, not even just the world, because it's just one. And so it's so true. As I'm here in America, and I have no plans on voting, because I agree exactly with what you said, that it's not even, they're just puppets anyway. And it doesn't matter who, I said this when Trump got elected in 2016, everybody was freaking out. I'm like, why? First of all, I was like, he's part of the oneness. He's not separate from the oneness. I have no ill will or ill feelings. I've never been political, and I never will, because to me, that's another, I don't identify with any one religion. I don't identify with any political party. I know that I am an aspect that all of that is. So all that is a part of me. And Trump isn't separate from me. So when he got elected, I was like, hey, he got elected, big deal. And now you're right, on social media, this whole thing, I say something on social media and people will say on Facebook and say, oh, that's what the right, and I'm like, I don't even know what that means, I don't even know what right and left means. And I'm proud of the fact that I don't know what right and left means. And I don't intend to vote this election, not as things stand right now. I don't see, but but I get it from both sides. They don't like that I don't want to vote. But
what you've just mentioned there is classic. You're of the right because you have a certain opinion.